Okay guys, welcome back to another video. In this case, we're going to be talking about the impact or collisions. We already studied before about the principle of linear impulse and momentum, and we saw that when two objects collide, they can either bounce back in opposite directions with different velocities than the ones they started with, while of course maintaining that conservation of momentum, or they can, after they collide, they can move together as one whole object with one common velocity. So in order to understand that whatever happened there, we can then study a little more in depth what's known as impact. So whenever two objects collide, there are two types of impact. Whenever they act in a line, that's what we call central impact, right? Where notice the line of impact, it's pretty much linear. Both objects are moving in that direction and they collide in that same direction. Or we can have what's known as an oblique impact over here, where our objects, they are coming from different directions and they meet at some point. So in this case, object A is coming from one side, object Z is coming from the other, and they meet right here at this plane of contact, right? And then this line right here will be our line of impact. Once again, notice central impact, there's no angles, they come pretty straightforward, facing each other. In oblique impact, there are some angles, so you can think, for example, when a billiard ball, crashes against, the edge of the table, and it bounces off, in a different angle than the one that it came from. So that's kind of like an oblique impact. Okay, so we can have here some of the definitions for each one of those. Once again, you guys can read on this on my notes so that you guys don't spend too much time in this video, but those are available for you as well as in the book. But just quickly summarizing here, we have the central impact, at least for this scenario that we see right there. Notice that we have two particles, A and B. They are moving in the same direction before the impact, where at least for this scenario, we see that the velocity of particle A is bigger than the velocity of particle B. If that's the case, A will eventually reach up to B, and it will collide, right? There will be some collision. In this case, we are treating these objects as deformable bodies, right? Because whenever they collide, they might like squish in a little bit, as you see there in figure C. And that is the amount of maximum deformation. So we're treating these particles as they are deformable. If they were rigid, then they wouldn't really deform, and there will be a different consideration. But we're going to be talking about that in the next seconds. So in this case, we have the deformation impulse. So deformation impulse defined as the integral of P dt, right? That is what we have right there. Where of course P, it's we have it already defined before. All right, and as we move, notice that the particles they have maximum deformation. Then there's a period of restitution, so an impulse that now pushes them outwards, and that is what we're going to be defining as the restitution impulse will be the following. So we have restitution impulse. This will be the integral of r dt, where P and R are just those forces right there. So in this case, we will have then that the deformation impulse, it's greater than the restitution impulse, or the force that acts on them for them to be separated than the ones that they happen when they're collided. And notice that after impact, after these particles bounce back, right, they're restituted, their shape, goes back to being closely to the original. We see now that after separation and after impact, the velocity of particle B is greater than the velocity of particle A. So once again, we said that before, conservation of linear momentum. Particle A was moving faster at the beginning. It collides with B. It imparts some of its energy towards particle B. And now particle B is moving in the same direction, but faster than what it originally had, while particle A is now moving slower than what it originally was moving. So that is basically what's happening here. So in most problems, the initial velocities of the particles will be known well, the final velocities will be unknown. In that case, we can write the following equation where we have, the mass of A times the velocity of A at 1 plus the mass of B times the velocity of B at 1 must equal to the mass of A times the velocity of A at 2 plus the mass of B times the velocity of B at 2. That is, of course, the conservation of momentum. We can have then that the deformation phase, right, for particle A, and then its restitution phase. So for the deformation phase, we'll have here mass of A times the velocity of A at 1 minus the impulse, the deformation impulse P dt is equals to mass of A times some common velocity V. Whereas the restitution phase will have mass of A times some velocity V minus the integral for the restitution impulse R dt equals to the mass of A times VA2. So notice that basically what we wrote there, that is the principle of linear impulse and momentum, but we're just doing it for the different stages during the collision. So with this, we are gonna come up, if we rearrange them, we're gonna get here what's known as the coefficient of restitution, where the coefficient of restitution is defined as the ratio between the restitution impulse divided by the deformation impulse. So this can be redefined as V minus VA2 over VA1 minus V, which is equals to VV2 minus V over V minus VV1. Or finally, then combining some of this information, the restitution impulse is equals to, for these two objects A and B, velocity of B at 2 minus the velocity of A at 2 divided by velocity of A at 1 minus velocity of object B at 1. So the coefficient of restitution basically tells us what kind of impact do we have. Do we have an elastic, plastic, or partially elastic behavior? So this coefficient of restitution is what's going to tell us if our particles are going to, after collision, if they're going to be moving together, or if they're going to bounce back, or if they're going to fall somewhere in between, and you're going to be like bounce back with some energy loss and so on. So whenever you find the coefficient of restitution, or sometimes it is given, if the coefficient of restitution is equals to 1, that means that we have a perfectly elastic collision, meaning that the impulse for deformation is the same as the impulse for restitution. The particles do not stick together, right? And that means that no energy is lost in the collision. Whereas if the coefficient of restitution is equals to 0, that means that we have a plastic or inelastic collision, meaning that the impulse of restitution is equals to 0, and in this case both particles couple or stick together and move with a common velocity. So the energy lost during the collision is a maximum. So whenever we're working with this, we gotta first apply the conservation of momentum, the equation that we see there, and then we apply the coefficient of restitution equation, where we already have it on top, right? Where E is equals to velocity of B2 minus velocity of A2 divided by the velocity of A1 minus velocity of B1. Whether your unknowns can be, different stuff. So that's how we do with this problem. So in order to know if our objects are going to collide or if they're going to bounce back, we have to know what is the coefficient of restitution. And once again, all of this stuff can be obtained from the conservation of momentum or from the principle of linear impulse and momentum as well. Okay, so we also have here then for an oblique impact, it's going to be pretty similar. So same principle applies, coefficient of restitution and everything. It's just that whenever we're dealing with oblique impacts, since we have objects coming, this still, remember, these are vectors, we can divide it into the corresponding axis. So we can do the impulse in the x-axis, for example, or the linear momentum and impulse in the x-axis, and then the conservation as well in the y-axis. Combine them at the end, get the magnitudes, and that way we can find out, whatever we're looking for. But for these oblique impacts, it's best to break up the velocities into their components, for example, x and y, or whatever other system you are working with, and also determining whether in which axis conservation momentum is, being kept, whether it's in the x-axis or the y-axis or so on. So we'll do a problem about this, but this is basically the introduction to impact. Once again, we've seen these problems before, we've done it already in other videos, but now we are introducing whether the impact is elastic, plastic, or somewhere in between. All right, so we'll do a problem about this so that we can understand what's going on.